For months, drug officials have been warning about the dangers of the chemical PCP, an hallucinogenic drug popular particularly with the young. But the House Narcotics Committee heard today that more than 14% of the population between the ages of 18 and 25 has used it at least once, and that its use is on the upswing. Barry Sarafin reports.
Members of Congress, federal and local authorities were unanimous in their sharp warnings about PCP, sometimes called angel dust. Cheap and easy to manufacture, offering enormous profits to dealers, producing a floating euphoric high, it can also, they said, produce severe disorientation, violence, and psychotic behavior for days or even weeks. California Congressman Norman Mineta from San Jose, the major PCP center, listed some horror stories.
One man murdered his parents, another stabbed a tiny baby to death, another ripped out his own eyes with his own hands. Users themselves die not only from massive overdoses, but also from what is called, quote, behavioral toxicity, unquote. People fall from great heights, burn to death, drive their cars into large stationary objects, or drown in a few inches of water because they couldn't recognize the danger or couldn't cope with it, or simply because they were too high to do anything about it, even more.
PCP can be smoked, snorted, or taken orally. Authorities estimate that nearly 7 million Americans have tried it, most of them 12 to 25 years old. Officials are baffled by the widespread use of PCP in view of the potential risks, but some witnesses said the danger itself might be part of the appeal to young people.
The very fact that it is risky is for many youngsters appealing in the same sense that driving a motorcycle at 90 miles an hour may be appealing for the very element of hazard.
One teenage former user told the committee he turned to PCP because of peer pressure, personal problems, and boredom with marijuana.
It really numbed me. Right after I had smoked it, I felt really numb. I had really lost my senses, more or less. Even if I touched things, like I almost walked into a fire and it really, it didn't matter.
Manufacturing and distributing PCP has been seen as mainly an amateur operation, but officials said today that large, well-organized heroin traffickers are now involved. Witnesses said veterinarians and researchers have some limited, legitimate uses for PCP, but Congress is considering tightening controls on it and on some of its principal ingredients. Barry Sarafin, CBS News, Washington.